Awesome, wonderful, welcome, good day, good day. It is so nice to be here again. I'll just give you guys just a couple of seconds to gather yourselves as we begin. Let them know Dessa's on, she's back. Awesome. So today's talk is about not knowing how good your body is supposed to feel. There is a large portion of women who are walking around experiencing a lot of pain. People in general, right? There's a large percentage of people across the planet who are walking around with a lot of pain and discomfort in their body, and specifically women with relation to their menstrual cycle, periods, womb health, and fertility. They are walking around with a lot of pain and feeling bondage in their body. And this is something that I wanted to talk about. So oftentimes when clients are coming to me or when I'm having conversations with prospects, we go over the experience that they have, like where are you right now? What have you tried? What have you done? And oftentimes, because of the fear of what will happen when you go out into the road, like you're preparing with your extra supplies, you're making sure you know where you are. Each time you go out, you're making sure you know what's around you. And if you have too much apprehension, you may not even leave and go outside of the house, right? You'll choose to entertain people at home. You know what I mean? Oftentimes, women will be going to the doctors, right, and having consultations with their primary caregivers as well as their specialist endocrinologists or fertility specialists or what have you. And they'll be suggesting medications for you to take, and so taking birth control or taking progestin or any of the other Depo-Vera or birth whatever it is that you are going through, the doctor will probably suggest some kind of synthetic medication for you to take to be able to reduce the symptoms and help you to live better. Hey, nice to see you. Oftentimes, you're also looking at those free consultations, as you are, looking for hope, you're scrolling on Google, you're, looking on Reddit, you're reading blogs, you're finding free information, like picking up those freebies. Who has a freebie? Download the freebie. You might use it, you may not use it. We're talking about things that clients will do or prospects will do in the midst of realizing that the problem that they have needs to be addressed from a different perspective, from a different angle, right? Oftentimes you're getting suggestions, if not from Dr. Google, you're getting suggestions from friends, right? Well, I tried this herb and I tried that herb, or, I heard about this or watched this YouTube video. I'm not hating on them, but you have to be really careful about that. I'll talk a little bit more why in the future of this video. Oftentimes I hear of, women going to see physios or going to see osteos or going to, you get massages to be able to address the discomfort that they're feeling, like I have lower back pain, could be because your uterus is backwards and it's hitting against the nerves in the back or putting pressure on there, right? So, you're getting a massage because the back is hurting, but it could be that something else is happening to you, right? And, then you've got the women or the clients or the people who know more about natural medicine and try to, really engage and espouse this by using, the essential oils to reduce their stress or lighting candles or all of that. You'll just give me one quick moment, please, okay?
Mom.
I'm back. Y'all excuse me. With the children home doing virtual schooling, I have to be very creative with how and when I'm doing my lives. And I'm up before they're up doing it, and my youngest one happened to get up, so I had to take care of him. Right, so I was talking about, getting the essential oils and using the candles to be able to affect your mental space or your stress levels, or they're like eating the foods that are suggested, you know what I mean, like trying the new diets, like DIYing it, doing it yourself, so this is oftentimes what's happening, or this, the position that people are in. They're taking the medication that the doctors have been giving them. They're, going on Dr. Google, they're looking for the freebies, they're taking suggestions from other people, they're working out extra hours, they're, going to the massage therapist, and, or they're choosing to entertain from home if you can't go out, you know what I mean? Or you're packing extra pads and painkillers when you're leaving the house, or you're, sussing the environment that you're in to make sure that, you can feel safe while you're out, because you don't know how your body is going to respond. Right? But why isn't this working? Let's talk about this a little bit more. Why isn't this working with your chronic situation? First of all, and I just read this on another page, and I thought it was so important. If doctors know the kind of detriment these synthetic hormones do to your body, they know how detrimental, the kind of long-term changes that it gives a woman's body, helping her to gain weight, put it on, making her a bit more moody, making just all different kind, more discharge, more infections, whatever it is, and coming off of it, they can have long-term effects on the body, right? Like women 10 years after, taking birth control for 10 years can't get pregnant naturally. Right? And so sometimes are, take years to get pregnant, or have to go on to IVF cycles, right? So there's, you're addressing the symptoms, you know what I mean? Like what is presenting itself, but you're not addressing the root cause. And so this is adding a pressure and a stress on your system and on your organs, right? And this is not actually nourishing the body and nourishing the cells in the system. It's suppressing. Right? And that's not the right combination of successful techniques and successful therapies if you're looking for healing in that way. You are getting your relief. You are getting relief. And let's make sure that it's important to acknowledge, especially if you're suffering, you're experiencing a lot of discomfort from your conditions, being able to get relief is important, but knowing that the suppression of your symptoms is not the cure, okay? When you're going online and you're looking at Dr. Google and you're finding this information that you're getting is piecemeal information. And Google, can rank anything, based off of the amount of views that it gets, not necessarily based on the foundation of, or the factual evidence of the information that you're getting. And I'm not saying that you won't find great things on Google. I'm saying you might only get a piece of the puzzle, or you might not know that this particular herb doesn't do well with this, it actually does better with that, so you need to try something else. Or you're getting information from your friends and family or from Google, and you don't know what the side effects of the herbs are. Now, herbs are not known to create very deadly circumstances unless those herbs, there are a couple of herbs that you do have to be careful of, right? Like you ingest them at particular times, it could be poisonous, but it's important to know what it is that you're doing. The other thing is, if you're taking something that isn't for your body, it won't necessarily do anything. But if you have pre-existing conditions, or you have allergies to things and you're not aware of, you might take a suggestion from Google, or you might take a suggestion from a friend or a family, and that herb might make you sick, right? Like if you're, suffering with a particular illness, there are herbs that are contraindicated, right? Like you should not be taking certain herbs during certain times or certain dosages of herbs or natural medicine. So you could be putting yourself at risk. Now, I'm all for experimenting, and going forward and doing things on your own. I'm very much a pioneer in that way, but I have learned over the years through my own personal experience, through my studies, and then through watching clients, that you want to, you're not going to get the fullness of what you're looking for with piecemeal information. And that's the same thing with freebies. Why are freebies not working? Because you're only getting a piece of the puzzle. I'm not going to give you my best, whole protocol in a freebie. Right? I'm not going to do that. And other coaches are not going to do that either. So you'll get some information that will, whet your palate and send you along your way, but it's not the full piece, right? The idea is, you want to get that taste to be able to say, oh, okay, let me get the rest of the protocol, let me get the rest of that pie so that I can see how the whole thing works to move on my problem, right? Another reason why, these suggestions are not working, and it doesn't mean that it's not good, addressing your stress levels, your emotional levels, all these things are great, but there's a certain level of commitment, that one has to engage in. And oftentimes when you're doing it on your own, you may not be holding yourself accountable in a way that gets you from point A to point B, that helps you to move the needle. So not committing or not believing that you're able to do the work is something. Starting and not being consistent is something, or maybe the learning curve is too much. Maybe you have made that decision, 2020, whatever 2020 was, guys, friends, women, ladies, folks, whatever 2020 was. Maybe your plans were to attack this issue this year. You know what I mean? Maybe you wanted to make sure that by the end of 2020, going into 2021, that you're experiencing, no more pain. You have better control. You know what's going on. But the learning curve is too high. Right? Like you had to change your diet. So first of all, what am I going to eat? You have to look at the foods that you're going to eat. Where am I going to get them? Wow, how am I going to cook them? You know what I mean? You're trying them. You don't really like them. Then you have to look at the herbs, and then you've got to look at, oh my gosh, the people say that I should be trying this and trying that. And so there's just too much, and then you don't do it, right? So instead of feeling like you're gaining momentum and gaining traction, you just kind of keep falling back because, you're not committed to it, or you don't really believe that it's going to work, or, everything is like whatever protocols you're using are not effective enough, right? So one of the first things that I want you to do, the first counterintuitive thing that I want you to start thinking about, and I've said it oftentimes, but I have to bring it back again. For women, you have to go softer. You have to back up a little bit, and you have to learn to become more softer and more yin. Why do I say that? Because the issue of womb health and hormonal health for women is also based off of an imbalance of how you're using your masculine and your feminine energy, right? And so oftentimes we're in a place of go, do, be, get it done, like aggression. The aggression of, needing to be effective, right? And needing to produce. And so, it's like, you feel as though you have to go harder to get the results that you want, right? But in the case of being a woman and dealing with hormonal health, that's not what's going to give you the results you need. You have to take time and step back, right? You have to, because you have to be able to allow yourself to be taught and be led, right? You have to allow yourself to be softer, right? To hear what your body needs, right? Like, this is what you need to do. It's not necessarily about going forward and forging ahead. It's about, okay, leaning back. And so it always brings me to the topic of self-care and radical self-love, and making sure to take time out for me and me time, and what is being selfish. All of these things are coming up because we don't have enough of it. And how come we don't have enough of it? Because we're forced into the mind state of doing and going and being. So that masculine energy is what has us moving forcefully through the world. And now the energy of the feminine aspect of leaning back into self is what's coming up more. And so by paying attention to that, you begin to tap into the wisdom of the body. Y'all, the wisdom of the body is something that we all have, right? And that is where you're able to tune into your physical areas of the body and hear, like what's happening, going deeper, like what's really going on, what does it need right now, right? Like, and you begin to pay attention to the urgings that you have. Well, I feel like I want to eat more of this, or I feel like I want to be in this state a little bit more, or I need to experience more of this. This is what actually starts to happen. And when you do that, right, you begin to kind of clear the way and clear the space for you to be more present to yourself and to the healing, the regeneration of your cells, because your body wants to thrive. Your body wants to thrive. And if you put yourself in a position to hear what it needs and to answer the call, then you're giving yourself a better chance at getting to those places of goals achieved that you're looking for, right? So eliminating things that don't serve you, eliminating things that cause you stress, go softer, take more time for yourself, trusting your intuition. These are things that I repeat quite often, but it's the basis of getting better. It's the basis of healing. It's the basis of, women getting more in touch with themselves. It's the basis of, having a better understanding of your menstrual cycle, of what's going on in your body every month. It's the basis of learning how to embrace your feminine freedom. Okay? Your feminine freedom, the freedom that is felt when you are connecting and connected, plugged in, tuned in, and turned on, as Abraham Hicks would give a variation of that, to the ebb and flow, a natural and harmonious ebb and flow that happens monthly and cyclically, right? When you're able to lean back, you now become an observer. And the impulse before moving forward is taken differently, right? The intention is different. Your experience is different. Your awareness is different. Okay, so this is the most counterintuitive thing women should be doing, especially if you're experiencing chronic hormonal issues, if you're experiencing pain from PCOS, from endometriosis, if you've had repeat miscarriages, right? These are some of the serious tips, very, very basic things that you should be doing for yourself. And like example, if your body says don't go, don't go. I always tell women, focusing on taking more time for yourself during your menstrual cycle is the best way to start that process. Taking time during those 7 days to do the least amount of things possible to pamper yourself gives you that energy of the gift of energy, right? Excuse me. It gives you, I meant to say that differently, but I think you understand what I want to say. Taking time to rest gives you the gift of the energy to go forward, okay? And so the other thing that I want you to consider doing is, really evaluating where you are. And when I say that, we're looking at, I think I'll go back and say, I want you to think about all of the different types of nutrition. This is the other piece, to that puzzle. Think of the different types of nutrition you're consuming, right? Like when you're evaluating where you are. So like, what kind of food are you eating? What kind of air are you breathing? What kind of sounds are you consuming? Are your ears consuming? What kind of products is your skin consuming, right? What kind of people is your body consuming? What kind of spiritual food are you giving yourself? Like, think about where you are. Okay, that's a little nugget from the program that's in our phase 1 program, where we look at our assessment of our houses, of our 12 houses. Like, what is it that is not in alignment, based off of what our baseline standard is, right? And so we go deep into that during that phase of the program. And so where are you? Why are you there? Oh my goodness. How often, there are many times where we put external blame on things that belong to us. And so paying attention to that, why are you where you are, like looking at the different kinds of nutrition that you're taking, the different kinds of circumstances that you're putting yourself in, the kinds of people that you're frequenting, the kinds of decisions, I think I said that again, that you're always making. And so how you're going to get help. Right? Are you going for a second and a third and a fourth? You know what I mean? Have you looked up all the different kinds of health therapies that are out there? You know what I mean? Have you applied the work? That's the other thing, like we get these little bits of information and you don't apply them, but you talk about them. You talk about the theory of doing it and you don't do it, right? So really, and that's it. So are you going to get the help and are you going to apply it, or are you going to try to get the help or pray about getting the help? Right? You know what I mean? Like, are you going to be in your place, just quiet and not really doing, your due diligence and stepping forward and speaking up, right? And making those extra efforts, So I wanted to just leave you with those nuggets today, because like we need to know that you can feel better. You can feel better. And oftentimes, based off of what science has told us, how they have been able to handle chronic and acute reproductive health issues, womb issues, PCOS, fibroids, endometriosis, ablations, adhesions, based on all of this, we're taught that we have to just live with the pain. We have to just live with the issue and nothing can be done. And that's not true. That's not true. Once we look at life from a multidimensional perspective, once we look at life from a multifaceted perspective, then, we're able to alleviate pain and discomfort. Maybe not completely. I can't say that. I won't claim that. But I know for a fact that if I'm able to alleviate stress, major stress in areas, of importance, this changes my experience, right? And it helps, it encourages me to do better, to live better, and I'll be experiencing more of that energy and vitality. So I just really wanted to come on and share this work of love and passion with you all. And, I ask you, share this with anyone you think can benefit from the information that I've presented to you, let them know that there is hope. Let them know that there are options, that I'm sharing tips and tricks in here. And if you or the people who you're sending this information to would like to know a little bit more about how we can work together, please feel free to hop on over to my bio, or if you're on Facebook, you can look below the video in the comments and you can click on the link and book a next step call with me and see the kind of work that I do and how it could be of service to you. All right. So y'all make sure to hashtag replay below. Let me know that you were here and share with me, any nuggets. What were some of the things that I said that you enjoyed? Let me know so I can interact with you some more. Y'all take care. Be well. And I'll see you again soon.